Konami Studios. Action Comics 1029. So, I was thinking, should I read this book? Do I really need to go into this? I'm busy enough as it is. Should I get into another Superman title? But then I found out that this was going to be like a direct continuation of Superman 29, so I'm like, yeah, I probably should finish up this Golden Age arc because it's important, and it's fun. Do I like that we are crossing over each story into different titles? That's probably a discussion for another day because I personally don't like that. I don't want to keep track of I have to read this book here, then the second part of that story is in this book, and the third part's in this one. That stuff bothers me because I don't have the time for that shit. Just put it all in the consecutive story, and I'm fine with it. But if it's a two-parter like this, it's not egregious, but I'm just I didn't need this. You could have just made this Superman 30. I wouldn't lose sleep over it. Whatever. It was a fine book. There was a Midnighter backup. I didn't read it just because I have nothing to say about that Midnighter backup or that interpretation of Midnighter. It's going to have its audience. It's going to be something that a lot of people enjoy. For me, it's just yeah, it's Midnighter. I get it. I understand what's going on here. And this book was pretty good. I liked the first issue a lot from this new era of Superman. It was very classic, very stylized, and a great feeling. But when it came to this issue, it was a really nice wrap-up. It didn't do anything we weren't expecting. It was definitely a continuation of Superman 29 because it's kind of just like a repeat of that book, just like the events after that one ends. So in Superman 29, we see that John and Clark go back into space to fight the Horde again. And then we're just kind of getting the same book from Superman's perspective, right? So, they're fighting the creatures. Superman is still kind of weak, and he's not really holding off good. The Star Labs base is attacked, so they go save the people inside. And basically, we are just seeing that Superman's trying to keep them alive. We have to get these people to safety. The only way to close this breach is to go through the other side and have someone close it that way. And hopefully they can beat the speed outside before the thing closes. But it's is that possible? Do we actually have the ability to do that? Everyone's just kind of guessing, and the idea is probably Superman could, but he's weak, and John is just Dad, you are not ready to do this. I can see you are falling apart, and you are bleeding more than you are letting people know, so I know you can't do this, and I know this is going to be written in the books that you are going to die today, so please just let me do this. I can get this done faster than you could, and we could actually save some lives here. But Clark is just kind of I don't know, son. I don't know if this is what we should do. I can do it. Always being the dad who's going to have everything done properly. But sometimes you just got to let your son take control. It's a really nice story like that, It's in the first issue we saw that the son's there comes a time when you see your father is just a man. And then the father in this issue is there comes a time when you see your son is willing to be the man. And you're that's pretty fun. It's a really nice angle to throw that up. So they're going back out to defeat the aliens, take the breach down. And the idea is that, Superman is kind of just maybe I should let my son do stuff like this because he will surprise me. He'll surprise the world. Your kids have the ability, and you should give them more credit to do stuff like this because they can actually take the blows, do the work, and get it done. So we see that John does go into the breach. He closes it up. He blasts out before it closes, and it looks like everything is all hunky-dory on the other side of the breach, and everything's going well. So we cut back to just, our dad and our son flying through the desert, and Clark is just trying to talk to him son, I should give you more credit. I actually could have died there, and that was my dad. I don't know how I would have reacted to, but you've handled yourself perfectly, and you've proven to do the right thing here, so I'm very impressed, and I'm very proud of you. And we get a nice story. It's kind of been teasing out through the book, these words that Clark was saying, and it's kind of very cool. That, we go to a flashback and we see that, there's a scene where Pa Kent falls off a ladder, and Clark's I should have been there to save you, and it's kind of nah, son, it's my fault, There's going to come a time when, your son's going to see you vulnerable too, and the important thing is to let him understand that everything's going to be okay. You are fallible. Everything, eventually, in the end, does find a way to work itself out, and that's the important lesson we need to learn here today. I thought that was a really cute moment. It was very cool, very fun. This is a nice, lighthearted thing. We end this book seeing this thing from Mongol, because you guys know Future State, Worlds of the War, War of the Worlds, or whatever that was called, Worlds of War. Superman, Clark Kent does go to space to fight on War World to stop Mongol from doing stuff. So we're kind of bringing it back to Future State. Makes me wonder, how long was Clark actually on that planet? Like, is he going to go there soon? And this Superman title is going to be about John taking over? I wonder if we're going to see that route. Maybe like halfway through the arc, we could see something like that happen with the character leaving and John taking over. But it's pretty good. Again, the artwork is very clean. It looks so good. It's such a great classic feeling Superman book. And this idea about like the Golden Age being one of the key elements in this story, I think it makes it work really well for what we're seeing. Like, it just adds that extra layer to the story, to the characters. The Phil Hauster's art is great. Philip Kennedy Johnson's writing is really good for this story. I'm very impressed with it. Like, normally I'd be like talking more about this, but it's pretty much what we saw in the last issue. I don't think that's a bad thing. We're just seeing, like, we opened the breach last issue, this one we're closing it. There's not a lot to it, and there doesn't need to be. It's very fast-paced, very high energy, and that's going to make a lot of people happy. It's a very solid read, and it's setting up a really cool Superman status quo. We're seeing maybe Clark's going to step back a little bit and let John take over for certain things. Very cool to see, a very fun read. I do think it's going to make a lot of people happy. So I recommend it. It's a great follow-up. I hope this doesn't become the normal with this run where we're going to go like, oh, issue 30 is going to tie into 1030, and it's just like back and forth. That would bother me. If that's the case, though, I can't stop them from doing it. It's just like the 90s, I guess. But whatever, it's fine. It's going to be fine for people. Good read, solid book. I definitely recommend checking it out. So, Superman Action Comics number 1029, I am going to give a 7 out of 10. Now, thank you guys so much for watching this review. Be sure to like and subscribe to the channel. As always, you can check me out on Instagram, Patreon, Twitter, all that good stuff, and I will catch you in the next one. Have fun, stay safe, good luck.